Hello everybody and welcome back to Sam's Finance, where I talk about personal finance, companies and their stocks. This video is going to set the foundation of this channel because today I'm looking at the big why. Why should you care about personal finance? Can't we just live in the now, enjoy our youth while we can and adopt YOLO as our personal finance policy? Spoiler alert, yes, you can of course, but this video might explain to you why you maybe should not. First of all, what is personal finance? Personal finance refers to the managing of your own money in terms of saving and investing. Inherent to managing your own money is to set personal financial goals that you then pursue. I am aware that the mindset of setting goals for oneself is already a hot topic. What has always convinced me personally to set goals for myself is the image of the ship on the ocean. Imagine you are on a ship in the middle of the ocean called life. You have to set a destination in order to start rowing somewhere. Where does not really matter all too much. You will learn along the way. The point is to get going and to see places. If you just let yourself drift, however, you will eventually end up in the great Pacific garbage patch of life. Back to the topic. Our oars in the world of personal finance are your earnings, your savings rate, and your investments. Those are the tools you work with in order to reach your financial goals. Here, these skills or habits are displayed as stairs. This is fitting for two reasons. On the one hand, you can only save what you have earned and you can only invest what you have saved. On the other hand, every step is at least also a little bit psychologically harder. I would hope that we all earn some form of monthly income. The next step would be then to save a portion of this. If you have to weigh up how much do you need to cover your fixed expenses and spendings and how much are you willing to save. Important, with save, I don't just mean you save up for a new TV, aka short-term saving for later consumption, but I primarily refer to long-term saving, like saving to build up your nest egg, saving for down payment on any kind of property, or saving to invest in the equity, bond, or commodity markets. Equity meaning stocks or funds, for example, bond meaning mostly government bonds, and the classic commodity example would be gold or maybe a digital version like Bitcoin for it in the future. Why is every step psychologically harder? Because every step comes with an interaction between personal needs and perceived risk. For example, if you earn and don't save or invest, then you decide to focus on your current personal needs. Often you hear this kind of people preach that one should live in the now, especially when you're young, because you only have one life and you only have one youth or time in college. Frequently, I also hear that the little money you have when you are young is much better spent on experiences or lifestyle, like getting together with your friends for restaurant visits or short trips on the weekend. The fear that I see resonating with the YOLO attitude is that today might be your last day and you can die tomorrow. From that angle, it perfectly seems reasonable to not double down on saving, because what would be more annoying than to die at 26, lay in the coffin and think, man, I saved up so aggressively and gave up so much in my life just to lie here now and with 50k in savings, but no great trips ever made. I think we can all agree that nobody wants to be this guy, and I find it a valuable thought to remind yourself from time to time that every day could be your last day. Based on that, you should treat all people around you as if it was your last day, because what definitely is a worse situation than the one I described before is to lay in your coffin at 26 thinking, damn it, I wish I left in peace with my family and with them knowing what I truly felt for them. Whichever inspiration or interpretation of the YOLO thought you hang on to, the truth is that you and me will most likely not die tomorrow or at 26. Depending on where you live, you have a statistical life expectancy of around 84 years in Japan, Italy and Australia, or 79 years in the US. The global average currently sits at 73 years. So much for the facts. That in return means that the actual risk of you living in old age poverty is way higher than you dying at 26 and possibly also you dying at 40 or 50. Where it now gets interesting is when you see coherences between you YOLOing your life in your 20s and your likelihood of ending up in old age poverty. What I'm basically giving you here are rock solid reasons to start caring early about your personal finances. One main point of concern is that the more you even knowingly YOLO your life in your youth, the harder it will get to convert into healthy financial habits after your wild 20s, even if that was originally your plan. Now, what are healthy financial habits? Number 1, do not spend more than you make. This may sound too obvious, but if there is too much month in the end of your money and you start to take out debt for your daily life expenses, then you are breaking this rule. The obvious solution to this is clearly to lower your expenses. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Second healthy financial habit, build up your nest egg or emergency fund. This will give you more freedom and peace of mind. When you are living paycheck to paycheck, you not only break rule number 1, but also have to obey your boss no matter how much of a moron he might be, because losing your job is simply not an option without an emergency fund. Third healthy financial habit, since building up that emergency fund already taught you how to save, you now go and invest a portion of your income every month to build up wealth long term. Why should you do that? Well, that's up to you, but for certain, at least for retirement, and maybe also for a sooner retirement, for your kids' education, for a nice car you always wanted, or maybe even just for the warm feeling of getting more independent from your daily job and suddenly having a whole lot of options for whom you want to work, where you want to work. Maybe you can finally start your own business. Should you take this vacation, and not can you afford this vacation? These financial habits are as much a habit as any other. To implement them takes time, effort, and discipline. But once you got them, they can run on autopilot and improve your life without you noticing the efforts anymore. To put it straight, the earlier you form these habits, the longer you will profit from them. And on the flip side, the later you start to take on these good habits, the harder it will get because you then already used to, let's say, less perfect financial habits, like everything you make gets spent, for example. The longer you deal with something, the more knowledge you also accumulate. You will get to know how equity markets work, what the difference between market cap and stock price is, what ETFs are, and much, much more. With time, you might even get a different view on our global economy, and you will be able to read between the lines and understand connections. But Sam, you might oppose, what has that to do with why I should start early? Can't maybe the knowledge I get from college and university help me with that later? Okay, let me first answer the first question. Whenever you start to get into a new field, practically, you will make mistakes. This is the case with everything and therefore also with personal finance. Now my counter question. Would you rather make the mistake with the $100 you saved up while studying, or with the 1,000 or 2,000 bucks that you might have available in the first years of your career? The younger you start, the more mistakes you can make, because fundamentally time is on your side when you are young, because you have time to start again. You do not have this advantage when you start at 35 with a young family around you. The second word underlined here is experience. The experience you gain refers to the economic and market cycles you take part in. You get to experience how a portfolio feels in a bear market or in a recession when you are down 30% on your whole portfolio. An important learning you can draw from such a period is the answer to the question whether you can withstand such drawdowns emotionally. Investing is not supposed to take away your sleep. And if it does, you have to change your portfolio allocation. Here again, I prefer not being able to sleep with my $500 portfolio down 40% instead of making this experience the first time when I'm 33 with a built-up portfolio of maybe 50 grand. Time is on your side when you are young is also the perfect transition to the third point on my list. Compounding is no joke. Often it is therefore described as the eighth wonder of the world. If the soft points above weren't able to convince you yet, prepare yourself for some hard mathematical facts now. On the left we see Brian. Brian does not concern himself with his personal finances until he turns 30 and is already settled when he's already settled and makes good money. That's why from then on he starts to invest $1,000 every month. On the right we see Lisa. She starts to manage her finances soon after high school when she gets into college. While in college she takes a side job, and with the help of that she's able to invest $200 monthly. At 25 she's done with her higher education and ups her monthly investment rate to $500 when she lands her first job. A few promotions follow, and as a result she's able to up her monthly investments again to $800. For the next 30 years, so from age 30 to 60, Brian and Lisa continue to do just that. Brian invests $1,000 every month and Lisa $800. That means Lisa invests $2,400 less than Brian every year. Now the question is, when they both turn 60 and retirement is around the corner, how well are they both prepared? I will show you the result in a second, but first let me quickly lay down my assumptions. With long-term investing on the stock market, you can expect an annual return of about 7%. However, we have to deduct 2% inflation per year so that you are left with 5% annual returns. The simple background is that $1,000 today will not have the same buying power in 30 years. In Germany, where I live, I remember that one scoop of ice cream cost 50 euro cents in 2006, then it cost €1, and now most ice cream parlors charge 1.2 euros per scoop. Therefore, the numbers you will see now will be higher in reality. However, you will only be able to buy the things that cost this amount today. So here we go. Brian ends up with a total inflation-adjusted capital of $818,000, while Lisa ends up with $58,000 more, namely $877,000. This might not seem too exciting, But may I remind you that Lisa gets out more in the end, even though she invested $30,000 less than Brian, as displayed here. As I said before, she therefore has $2,400 to spend on a holiday or whatever every year of the 30 years between her at 30 and her at 60. Consequently, we have to add up these two numbers and get to $88,000. That is basically her prize money for starting early. And it really only refers to the time aspect. It is not about that she started to save earlier and therefore more. As we have seen, she obviously did not save more. She saved $30,000 less in total. Precisely this is what I'm quickly going to change for the second example. Here, Lisa invests more than Brian because she started to work hard early and later on also saves the same amount as Brian, namely $1,000 instead of $800 per month. Of course, that leads to an even greater outperformance of Lisa over Brian. The inflation-adjusted difference here is about 222 grand. Even if I again exclude the actual money Lisa earned from 20 to 30, the 42,000, then Lisa still gets a reward of 180 grand just for starting early. I hope this made sense to you and I could give you an understanding of why I believe it makes sense to start to get onto this investing step as soon as possible. I have one last thing I want to leave you with. And that is, how likely is it really that Brian even does what I assumed here? How likely is it that one lowers its lifestyle ever again to be able to save and invest $1,000? That's maybe Lisa's biggest advantage in my mind. She never had to lower her lifestyle. She only started early and only gradually increased her costs of living as soon as she had more income, while also not forgetting to up her savings. And with that said, thank you for watching. You can help me out by subscribing to my channel, and remember, just be lekker. Bye bye.